NCAA men's volleyball broadcast of the 2019 season serves up a top 10 matchup from Elaine Michaelis Court in Provo, Utah. The number 5 BYU Cougars hosting the 7th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. Good evening, everyone. I'm Robbie Bolo. Happy New Year from the Smith Fieldhouse. This has turned into a rivalry of sorts in the last few years. Ohio State swept BYU to win the NCAA title in both 2016 and 2017. Last year, it was BYU returning the favor, taking down the top-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes on their home court in Columbus in 5 sets a year ago. And here they are today in the Smith Fieldhouse. Hello, once again, Happy New Year and a fantastic top 10 matchup. BYU and Ohio State both have 3 national championship banners in their gym. Both have been to the Final Four the last 3 years. BYU has played for an NCAA title 3 times in the last 6 seasons. Ohio State has won 3 of the last 8. This is a juggernaut matchup to kick off the season. The first match for BYU, the third for Ohio State, most recently a 4-set victory at home against the Penn State Nittany Lions. BYU 22-7 a year ago. They won the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation and are picked to finish 2nd this season behind UCLA, the Bruins winning the national title on their home court a year ago. BYU won the MPSF and did so, gosh, how many straight times now? 3 straight times, 5 of the last 6 winning the MPSF. Ohio State won the MIVA for the 27th time, and they won the tournament for the 17th time. The starting lineups being introduced, and we will do so beginning with the 7th ranked Buckeyes from Ohio State. Starting at libero, Aaron Samarin, a redshirt senior from Clovis, California. At outside hitter, Martin Lallemand, a 6'4 sophomore from Belgium. Reese Devilbis, the 6'2 junior from Mount Wolf, Pennsylvania, starting at outside hitter as well. The redshirt senior, Blake Leeson, starting at middle blocker out of Wisconsin. Jake Haynes, the 6'10 redshirt sophomore from Orland Park, Illinois, starting at opposite. He is the reigning MIVA co-offensive player of the week. 2nd team All-League last year, had 10 kills in the 5-set loss to BYU in Columbus in 2018. Austin Gerwig, the middle blocker, a 6'6 sophomore from Doylestown, Ohio. Transfer from Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne, starting at middle blocker. And the setter, quarterbacking this team, Sunil Thomas, a 6-foot senior out of Tinley Park, Illinois, led the NCAA last year, averaging 11.28 assists per set. First team All-Conference and an honorable mention All-American a year ago. Pete Hansen, in his 35th season leading this Buckeye squad, is assisted by Tim Embaugh and Kevin Birch. Pete Hansen, 704 career wins. He is 6-12 all-time against BYU. The Cougars, 22-7 a year ago, MPSF champions, went to the NCAA Final Four for the 3rd straight year, and they begin this season ranked 5th in the country. Davide Gardini, a 6'9 freshman from Italy, will get a start in his first career match. Gabby Garcia Fernandez, the opposite, 6'7 sophomore from Puerto Rico, was the AVCA National Newcomer of the Year, a 2nd team All-American, and he returns starting as a sophomore. Zach Hendrickson will start at libero, a 6-foot sophomore from Louisville, Kentucky. Felipe de Brito Ferreira, the 6'9 sophomore from Brazil, will start at middle blocker. He was a freshman All-American in 2018. Miki Jauhiainen, the 6'8 junior from Finland, a 2-year starter, had 6 blocks at Ohio State last year. He will start tonight. Cyrus Faalogo starting an outside hitter, the 6'4 junior from West Jordan, Utah. He is the only player on this BYU squad who hails from the Beehive State. And the setter, Will Stanley, a 6'4 junior, played behind Leo Durkin, and now his turn to start. The junior from Honolulu, Hawaii, setting for the Cougars. Sean Olmstead in his 4th season as the head coach, 75 wins, 16 losses. He is 1-2 against Ohio State. Those 2 losses coming in back-to-back national championship matches, and the 1 win coming 5-set fashion, upset of number 1 Ohio State in Columbus last year. A couple of first-year assistant coaches on Sean Olmstead's squad, Micah Naone and Devin Young, who played middle blocker for BYU in 2008 and again from 2011 to 2014. The starters have been introduced. It is a packed Smith Fieldhouse. This game starting at the same time as BYU and Portland in men's basketball in the Marriott Center, and plenty of the students have chosen volleyball over basketball this evening for a top 10 matchup, BYU and Ohio State. Miley Jukes will be our first official. Les Callis, the second official, down on the floor. And BYU will serve first this evening in the home whites with blue shorts. Ohio State in the road scarlet with crimson numerals. The libero wearing the gray jersey. The scarlet and gray, the blue and white. And here we go, Ohio State will serve first. Sunil Thomas, the libero. First team all-conference, honorable mention All-American, and we are underway. The 2019 season has begun for BYU, and it continues for Ohio State. And the hitting error goes out. And Ohio State, nope, it was in, excuse me. Thought it was out, it is in. BYU gets the first point. And no, now they'll change it. BYU is getting set to serve, and it was Ohio State's point. So it is 1-0 Ohio State. They gave the point to BYU on the board, and BYU is getting set to serve. And here we go again with Sunil Thomas, and he serves it out. And we are tied up at 1 apiece here in set number 1. Ohio State getting the 4-set victory against Penn State last Saturday, hit 380 in that match. They trailed 24-22 in set 4. Fought off 2 Nittany Lions set points to take the match and keep it from going 5. And BYU returns with a service error, 2-1 Buckeye advantage. This match last year went 5 sets in Columbus. Ohio State won set 1, 25-21. BYU took the next 2, 25-21 and 25-20. Buckeyes took set 4, 25-21, and BYU won the 5th and deciding set, 15-8. The Cougars outblocked the Buckeyes 12-3 in that match. And Ohio State started off strong, hit 750 in the first set, just negative 357 by the time it got to set number 5. Miki Jauhiainen will serve for BYU, tied up at 2. Bump set. And put away by Martin Lallemand, the sophomore. Transitioning from an opposite to a passer hitter this season. Started 2 matches last year. Starting this season, had 14 kills through the first 2 matches. Blake Leeson on the service line for the Buckeyes. Ohio State leading 3-2 here in set 1. And Cyrus Fa'alogo will go off hands to get his first kill. Cyrus had 73 kills, starting 11 matches last season for the Cougars. And he pulls BYU even, 3 points apiece here in the opening set. Gabby Garcia-Fernandez will go back to serve. Newcomer of the year, had 51 aces last season, 3rd most in a single season in BYU history. Not an ace, but still a strong opening serve from Gabby. The Buckeyes trying to get him off the service line. Both teams have had some chances here. Back set, and it is put away. Jake Haynes, 37 kills to lead this team through their opening weekend in their first 2 matches. A sophomore from Orland Park, Illinois. Went to Carl Sandburg High School. His setter, Sunil Thomas, went to nearby rival Victor Andrew High School in Tinley Park. Tied up at 4, Cyrus Fa'alogo. Back to serve for the Cougars. 6 service aces last season for Cyrus. We'll go to Lallemand. Gabby keeps it up. Davide Gardini, the freshman. We say his name for the first time in this match. And he picks up his first kill as a BYU Cougar. His father, Andrea, a 3-time Olympian, 96 in Atlanta, 2000 in Sydney, 2004 in Athens. 5-4, BYU leading by 1. Ball dug up, over. Gabby digs it up again. Joust at the net, and Davide with back-to-back kills to give BYU a 2-point cushion here early in set number 1. A couple of digs that were overpasses. BYU still able to put it away, 6-4. Cyrus remains on the service line. Block from the back row into the net, a hitting error from Jake Haynes. Third swing, he'll have 1 kill and 1 error here to start off set number 1. And BYU on a 4-0 run takes a 7-4 lead in set 1. Fa'alogo still on the service line, glances it off the top of the net. They go back row with Haynes again. Gabby, Haynes. And it's 8-4. 5-0 BYU run, timeout called by the Buckeyes. BYU doubling it up here early in set 1, 8-4. Off the arm of Gabby Garcia Fernandez. We'll take a break. Set 1 continues when we return to Provo. Welcome back to the Smith Fieldhouse in Provo, Utah. A top 10 matchup. It's the season opener. It's been billed to be fantastic, and so far it has been through the first 12 points. BYU currently on a 5-0 run. Ohio State out of the timeout will end that 5-0 run, and they keep feeding Jake Haynes, the redshirt sophomore. 10 kills against BYU last season in that 5-set match in Columbus. Has his 2nd kill here in set number 1. Lallemand, the Belgian, will serve. And he serves it long and out. BYU with a 9-5 advantage. Cougars hitting .500 here in the early going. Ohio State just .182. Cougars with 4 kills on 6 swings. Ohio State just 3 kills on 11 swings. Felipe de Brito Ferreira serving for the Cougars. They go to Haynes again, and Cyrus Fa'alogo digs it up. And Gabby has to set a free ball over. The second hit was from the setter. And Ohio State responds. Buckeyes pull to within 2, 9-7. Austin Gerwig, the middle blocker, will serve. He was an outside hitter at IPFW. Has moved to middle blocker since transferring to Ohio State, and he serves it out. 5th service error for Ohio State in this opening set, and BYU the first to double figures, leading it 10-6. The setter Will Stanley back on the service line, had 16 service aces a year ago, and he hits it into the tape. And that'll be the 2nd service error for the Cougars. And the Buckeyes within 3, 10-7. Number 3, Sunil Thomas to serve. Both setters wearing number 3 this evening for these respective teams. Thomas 2 service aces in their first 2 matches. Gabby cross court. That time Gabby coming from the left side. And Gabby Garcia Fernandez has his 2nd kill. Jake Haynes with 2 for the Buckeyes. Gardini and Fernandez each with 2 for the Cougars. And Gardini, the freshman from Italy, serving. Tied on the net. Thomas saved it, but nobody on the receiving end. And BYU opens up a 5-point advantage, 12-7 here in the opening set. Davide, selected for the U19 and U21 Italian national teams, finds his way here to Provo as a freshman. Fantastic serve and a better receive. Gabby goes over the triple block and hit it long. No touch, and Ohio State gets the point after a fantastic serve from Gardini and even better receive from Aaron Samarin. The redshirt senior is a starter for the second year after redshirting in 2017 following shoulder surgery. Cyrus blocked. Blake Leeson and Jake Haynes teaming up for the block for the Buckeyes. 2 straight for Ohio State, and it's 12-9. Cougars still with the 3-point advantage. Devil Biss again back to serve. Backed up Nick Zerzan last season, who was the 3-time Player of the Year in the MIVA, and the 2016 AVCA National Player of the Year. And now it's Devil Biss's turn as the outside hitter. 13-9, serve goes back now to BYU. Miki Jälkiäinen serving. And Lalaman puts it away, his second kill of this match. Averaging 2 kills per set through the first 2 matches, and has 2 here in set 1. Leeson, foot fault. Stepped over the line. And those are the kind of plays that tell you it's early in the season. Season opener for BYU, 3rd match for Ohio State. But come March and April, something you'll never see. Akin to a lane violation, I'd feel like, in basketball. Garcia Fernandez serving and into the net. 14-11. BYU's lead still at 3. And Jake Haynes will go back to serve. He had 8 aces against UC Irvine in the NCAA tournament last season. It was an NCAA tournament record for Ohio State and tied the single match school record. Haynes stands at 6'10". Difficult pass, and Haynes dug it up. Bump set, Haynes fading away, slides through and hits it just long. Difficult ball to hit. And Haynes still did a pretty good job at it. 15-11. In spite of the effort, it was long, and Fa'alogo will serve for the Cougars. A little bit of a float serve, tied on the net. Saved and put away. Lalaman, fantastic kill off the set from Sunil Thomas. And Lalaman will go back to serve. Played in 22 matches last year, started 2 of them. And here he is as a starter as a sophomore. Can the Buckeyes get within 3 here? Lalaman glances it off the net. Stanley sets Gabby. Garcia Fernandez, his 3rd kill. 3 for Lalaman for the Buckeyes, 3 for Gabby Garcia Fernandez for BYU. Felipe de Brito Ferreira, the Brazilian, back to serve. Freshman All-American last year, led this team, hit 500. Go along with 56 kills on his freshman campaign. Back row into the triple block. Reese Devilbiss was dug up. Stanley setting Miki Jälkiäinen tight on the net and blocked. Rejected in the middle. Austin Gerwig, the one that got a hand on it. And Sunil Thomas will probably also get credit on a block assist. Substitution, Jack Stevens, the freshman from Libertyville, Illinois, will come in as a serving specialist and serves it into the net. And now he'll check back out. Took Austin Gerwig's spot. Gerwig will come back in. 17-13, BYU by 4. Will Stanley, the junior from Honolulu, Hawaii, serving once again. His younger brother, John, an outside hitter this year. A freshman who has not obviously played, and don't know if he'll play tonight or not, but a couple of the Stanleys on this team now. 17-14, back and forth we go. And the Buckeyes now countering with their setter, Sunil Thomas. And Thomas hits it just a little long. 18-14, Davide Gardini back on the service line. 2 kills on 2 swings for Gardini. Also has a dig here in this opening set. BYU hitting a $167, Ohio State 263. BYU was cooled off significantly, and Ohio State, although they trail by 4, is out hitting BYU by nearly 100 points. 19-14, BYU puts it away. Cyrus Fa'alogo with the 7th kill for BYU. 7 kills as well for Ohio State, but BYU with twice as many errors, 4-2. And that's a service error into the net from Gardini. The 4th service error for BYU. And with the Buckeyes out hitting the Cougars, why does BYU lead? Well, Ohio State, 9 service errors. 9 of BYU's 19 points, nearly half of them coming completely from the service line. Unforced. Jake Haynes handles that one easily. 19-16. Ohio State stays within 3. Jake Haynes with 3 kills. Reese Devilbus serving. Stanley setting far side, and Cyrus Fa'alogo puts it down. 3rd kill for Cyrus Fa'alogo, and BYU gets to 20. 20-16, maintains that 4-point lead. Neither team has been able to put any sort of a run together since BYU's 5-0 run prompted the Ohio State timeout, and Miki Jauhiainen hits it into the net. And the Buckeyes will make another substitution. Parker McKesh, the 5'11 freshman from Ohio, will come in to serve. Played in 3 sets through the first 2 matches. And McKesh serves it just long. Ohio State has made a couple of serving specialist substitutions in this set. Both have resulted in service errors, and that's the 10th for Ohio State here in this first set. Obvious adjustment that they will try to make going into set 2. 21-17, BYU by 4. Haynes, Jake Haynes, 4 kills to lead the match. The conference co-offensive player of the week, 37 kills in the first 2 matches. And he will go back to serve. Ohio State still trailing by 3, needing to put together a run as we get in the late stages of the opening set, and it's service error number 11 for the Buckeyes. Half of BYU's points have come on unforced service errors. And Fa'alogo will serve for the Cougars, who lead by 4, just 3 points shy of taking this opening set, and Cyrus serves it out. 6 serving errors for BYU. Lalaman will serve for the Buckeyes. And he hits it out. That one wasn't long, it was wide. Somewhat of a change of pace for service error number 12 in this opening set. Felipe Ebrito Ferreira serving. Had just 1 service ace all of last season. Thomas setting Haynes, and he's had the hot hand. 5 kills on 10 swings, 2 errors. Jake Haynes hitting an even 300. And keeping Ohio State in it. They trail by 3, but BYU just 2 points shy of hitting 25 and taking this opening set. Austin Gerwig will serve. Difficult set. But BYU will have a second crack at it. and they get it with Gabby Garcia-Fernandez. I don't know that BYU would have gotten it necessarily over the net. Ohio State blocked it back over, and BYU had a second crack at it. And here they are with set point at 24-20 with Will Stanley serving. Thomas joust at the net, turned away by Gardini. And the triple block punctuates set number one. Gardini, Garcia-Fernandez, and Jauhiainen teaming up to give BYU set number one, 25-20. The two teams will switch sides, and we will come back for set number two. Number 5 BYU, number 7 Ohio State. Set one goes to the Cougars. Set two coming up from Provo when we return. Welcome back to the Smith Fieldhouse in Provo, Utah. Number 5 BYU taking set number one from number 7 Ohio State, 25-20, led by Gabby Garcia-Fernandez, who had 4 kills. BYU ended that opening set hitting .312. Ohio State hitting .280, led by Jake Haynes and his 5 kills, but 12 service errors gave BYU nearly half of their points there in that opening set and gave them the set 25-20. BYU had 6 service errors themselves, something that neither coach is going to be happy with. Pete Hansen, 35 seasons leading Ohio State. Sean Olmstead, his 4th year leading the BYU men after he was the women's head coach for 4 seasons and went to 3 straight Sweet 16s, including the national championship match in 2014. He's taken this BYU team to national championship matches in 2016 and 17, where they were swept by these Ohio State Buckeyes, and those banners hanging over what was the Ohio State bench is now the BYU bench here in set number 2. A constant reminder that Ohio State swept them in those 2, including 2017 that was in their own gym in Columbus, and then BYU returning the favor in that same gym last January, upsetting number 1 Ohio State in 5 sets. This will be the final season, by the way, that Ohio State will play in St. John Arena. They're moving to the Covelli Center beginning next season when it is completed, a 4,000-seat arena that will house volleyball and fencing, I believe wrestling, among other things. They will move into that new home. BYU here in the historic Smith Fieldhouse. We're playing on this new surface that was new as of a couple of years ago. The Smith Fieldhouse hosted the NCAA Men's Volleyball Championships a few years ago as well. It hosted a number of NCAA women's volleyball tournament matches, including Sweet 16 and Elite 8 that sent BYU to the Final Four for the 3rd time in its program history. And Sean's sister Heather leads that women's volleyball program. And so you've seen in the 2018 calendar year, both the men and women's programs at BYU go to the Final Four. All knotted up at 1 here as we begin set number 2. Ohio State serving. Going from right to left, BYU left to right. Changing up after set 1. Haynes tried to go off of the triple block, and he does so successfully. Strategic kill to get his first of this set and his 6th of the match. Hitting 300 in that opening set. Sino Thomas remains on the service line. Ohio State leading 2-1. And BYU responds to tie things up. BYU, by the way, credited with 1.5 blocks in set 1, including the one that clinched that opening set. 2 team blocks for Ohio State. Remember last year, BYU outblocked the Buckeyes 12-3 in Columbus, so Ohio State outblocking BYU. Not lacking in significance here in set 1, but could not overcome those 12 service errors. BYU trying to take advantage of the ductwork here in the Fieldhouse. And a long rally will end with a BYU point. In any other gym, that would have been an Ohio State point going up into the stands. But in the Smith Fieldhouse, the ductwork and the roof, it's all in play, and BYU taking advantage as the HVAC system returned it in play. 3-2 advantage for BYU with Gardini serving. Down the line, and it is just out from Reese Devilbus. And BYU gets the first breathing room. Either side is seen here in set 2. Leading by 2, 4-2. Davide Gardini will serve. Overpass. And Cyrus Falogo takes advantage for his 4th kill. First one of this set. And again, an early timeout called by Ohio State as BYU goes on a 4-0 run. It was a 5-0 run that sparked a timeout for Ohio State in set 1. The 4-0 run gives BYU the 5-2 lead. Timeout Buckeyes will step aside and return to Provo after this. It's a 4-0 BYU run here in set number 2. The Cougars taking a 5-2 lead. They won set 1 and have the early lead here in set 2. Number 5 BYU and number 7 Ohio State. It's a top 10 matchup for the BYU season opener. The Buckeyes opened up their season last week 2-0, including a 4-set win over Penn State out of the timeout. BYU serve goes into the net. And just like we saw in set 1, Ohio State calls the timeout, comes back, gets the next point to end the BYU run. But the Cougars never trailed after that in set 1. We'll see what happens here. Still very early in set 2, and BYU leading by 2, 5-3. Devilbus serving. Hendrickson dug it up. Diving dig, I believe from Thomas. And put away. Hendrickson couldn't get that one. And the Buckeyes come out of the timeout, score consecutive points. They trail by just 1. Devilbus will serve again. Jake Haynes continues to lead all players from both sides. 7 kills in this match so far. Cyrus goes around the triple block and hit it out. That's why he was able to go around the triple block, because he hit it wide. Ohio State has scored 3 straight to tie it up at 5. Stanley will set Gabby. Gabby Garcia Fernandez. 4 kills in set 1. That's his first kill on his 2nd swing here in set 2, and BYU stays in front now 6-5. Jälkeenainen serving. Named the Finnish national team in 2017. Junior year here at BYU. Haynes goes over softly, BYU keeps it up. Cyrus hits it off of Haynes, then it hits the antenna. Haynes wanted the call on the antenna, but it hit his hand first. BYU making the most out of a difficult situation. They've scored 2 straight to take a 2-point lead, 7-5. Helps that Davide Gardini is 6'9". If he's 6'8", I don't know if he reaches that ball and keeps it in play. Quick set and a quick kill from Blake Leeson. 2nd kill for Leeson. A 4-year starter. Was an All-American back in 2016. Tonight starting his 101st match of his 102 career matches. He had the title clinching kill against BYU in 2016 to give the Buckeyes their first of back-to-back national championships. Their first one came in 2011, and then back-to-back in 2016 and 2017. The 2017 title, they beat BYU on their home floor in Columbus. Back-to-back points for Ohio State, ties it at 7, and then a service error goes out and gives BYU the lead back 8-7. That's just the first service error for Ohio State in this set. Remember, they had 12 in set 1, which was nearly half of BYU's points, and they've only given them 1 of 8 here in set 2. Gabby Garcia-Fernandez, service ace, puts BYU back up by 2. First ace for either side. And Gabby starting where he left off last year as a freshman. 3rd most aces in a single season in BYU history. He had 51. Hard again, but that one hit off the net. Haynes blocked, but out. Kill number 8 for Jake Haynes, and it's point number 8 for the Buckeyes here in set number 2. Martin Lallemand. 6'4" sophomore from Belgium. Has 3 kills, and now he has a service ace. 3rd service ace of the season already for Lallemand. And it's tied up at 9. Both teams went back and forth in the later stages of set 1. They're back and forth here in set 2, but doing so 2 points at a time. This trend keeps up, it's going to be a wicked set 5. Jake Haynes from the back row, I think, was just trying to keep the play alive. And the BYU block goes out. It gives Haynes his 9th kill, and the Buckeyes now take the lead 10-9. Haynes will serve. Stanley, high, back row, Gabby. 6 kills for Gabby Garcia-Fernandez. Cyrus Fa'alogo will serve. Into the net. 11-10, Ohio State maintains the advantage. BYU led by as many as 3. Ohio State, if I'm remembering correctly, I do not believe has led by more than 1 point in either set. And that will change here. No, BYU credited with the point, 11-all. Another look, a triple block, and it does just land out. Felipe on the service line. Haynes can't save it. Felipe de Brito Ferreira had just 1 service ace all of last season, and he has matched that here in the first match of 2019. No service aces in the first set, a combined 18 service errors. And here in set 2, we've seen 3 service aces and 4 service errors, 3 of them by BYU, just 1 by Ohio State. Gabby couldn't save it. (12-all), and Austin Gerwig will serve for the Buckeyes. Gerwig has a block. Only 1 attacking attempt tonight. Miki, Stanley resetting it, and Gardini wasn't expecting it. Gardini, a freshman. Miki Jauhiainen had the first hit, which looked like a set, and I don't think Gardini was expecting Stanley then to set it as well. And Ohio State retakes the lead 13-12. Stanley back setting to Garcia Fernandez. Gabby has 7 kills, leads BYU. Second to Jake Haynes for Ohio State, who has 10 in this match. Will Stanley serving into the net. BYU had 6 service errors in the first set, and that's their 4th here in set 2. Ohio State had 12 in set 1, only 1 here in set 2, so the Buckeyes have made the adjustments. BYU still serving up a lot of errors. They do have 2 service aces in this set. So the 2-to-4 ratio for the set, not too bad. Ohio State has cut down significantly on their errors. Cougars knotted up at 14. Gardini will serve. 8 kills now for Gabby Garcia Fernandez. He has back-to-back points for BYU and won't have a chance for 3 straight because Gardini serves it long. BYU had that 3-point advantage, and it just kept going back and forth between 3 and 4 as both teams were trading points. Kind of the same thing happening now, but it's with Ohio State, the 1-point advantage. And BYU coming back to tie it, and once again, it's a service error, 14th of the night, 2nd of the set for Ohio State. That ties things up at 15. So can BYU get a side-out point here with Miki Yauhiainen serving? Overpass, and no, BYU hit the net. It was number 16. It was Felipe. And that's going to give the point to Ohio State. Right in the middle, had the overpass, and he's nodding his head, saying, yep, he was caught. Les Callis, our second official, was right on it. 16-15. Buckeyes maintain the lead. Luke Meidel, the sophomore, comes in to serve. And it's the first time there's been a serving substitution for Ohio State in this match that didn't result in a service error, but it still ends up in a BYU point. So Ohio State still has not been able to generate any points off of those substitutions. Blake Leeson will check back in, and Meidel will head back over to the bench. Tied at 16. Gabby serving. And now a timeout called. Not really called by either team. This is going to be a medical timeout. Jake Haynes is over, getting his left knee wrapped up, so we'll stay here. Jake must have had some blood on that knee. So they'll put the tape over it. And there he is, good to go. And they'll bring both teams back out onto the floor. Kind of a free timeout for both sides. Tied up at 16, and we get into the critical stages of this set. Anytime you get to where the magic number is in the single digits, and it is right now for both teams at 9. In volleyball, every point matters, but they seem to matter a little bit more when it's tight and late like this. And Gabby Garcia Fernandez has his second ace of this set and gives BYU the lead back, 17-16. Can you see why he had 51 of them last season as a freshman? Taylor Sander was fantastic in his entire career, and Gabby into the net, follows up his service ace with a service error. He could be looking for that career record by the time his career ends. Tied up at 17. Gabby from the back row, off of the triple block, and it's ricocheted up and over, and a point for BYU to give them the lead back. Taylor Sander has the BYU record, 182 aces. Second to him is his brother Brendan, who had 116. That's how good Taylor was. His brother, second all-time to him, is what, 66 aces behind him. But Gabby, do the math, at 51 as a freshman, multiply that by 4, he could have over 200. Taylor has the single season record at 55. 55, 44, 42, and 41 were his totals. 41 as a freshman, then 44, 42, and 55 by the time he was a senior. And Gabby, 51 already as a freshman. So if he gets more every year, like Taylor did, he could leave BYU as the career aces leader. Ohio State calling its final timeout here in set 2 as BYU has opened up a 20-17 lead, 3 straight points, and we'll stay right here. BYU trying to get this 2-0 advantage, and Ohio State trying to keep themselves in this match, tying it up at 1. It's a top 10 matchup here at the Smith Fieldhouse on the W.TV to open up the 2019 campaign. We will also have Saturday's match, BYU welcoming in number 14 Ball State from Muncie, Indiana. They will be here Saturday, again, a 7 o'clock Mountain Time first serve. Ohio State will stay out in the Western time zones. They'll go to the Pacific time zone and face number 11 Stanford on Saturday in Palo Alto, California. Will the Buckeyes go 3-0, or will they go there 2-1? And how will BYU go into Saturday's match against the Ball State Cardinals? Will they be 1-0, or will they start the season 0-1? So much recent history between these two teams. BYU dominating the overall series history, leading 12-6. But the biggest matches between these two teams, 2016 and 2017, they were sweeps. Ohio State won national championship banners after those matches. BYU won national runner-up banners that hang directly over Sean Olmstead's head on the BYU bench right now. Last year, a little bit of solace for BYU, getting the 5-set upset over number 1 Ohio State on their floor. That same court that they lost the 2017 title. But that 2018 win didn't bring any banners with it. Cyrus Fa'alogo serving for BYU out of the timeout. And it's hit long. And very quickly, Pete Hansen comes up and he's going to challenge it. He thought there was a BYU touch. So as called on the court, this would be the first time Ohio State hasn't gotten a point coming out of a timeout. And this is a big one. So Ohio State challenging the call. And this is a big one. If it stands, BYU will be up 4, 21-17, just 4 points away from taking set 2. If this is reversed, then Ohio State is within 2. And it would be 20-18. Les Callis will go over to the monitor and look at this, and we'll take a look right here as well. Was it touched? It would be right there at the top of the net. Felipe de Brito Ferreira and Davide Gardini were the two right there. The ball's going between them. Does it hit either of their hands? That is the question right now. And from that replay that we saw, it didn't look obvious. Maybe we could take another look at it, because Les Callis is certainly going to take a few looks at it over on press row. It will either be BYU by 4 or Ohio State by 2. Let's look at it again. And they do reverse it. It was a BYU touch. I think it would have been Gardini. Again, we said it was either Felipe or it was Davide, and I think Davide Gardini, that right hand, I think is where the touch was. So Ohio State, every time they've called a timeout so far, all 3 times, they have ended a BYU run and gotten a point. That one off of the challenge, a good challenge from the 35-year veteran Pete Hansen. And Ohio State within 2. BYU pushes it back to 3. Davide Gardini comes right back and picks up his 6th kill in his BYU debut. 21-18. Felipe will go back to serve. Has a service ace in this set, matching his total from his entire freshman campaign last year. Free ball sent over. Stanley setting Davide, and he hit it out. Tried to go cross court. Hit it a little strong. (21-19), Ohio State within 2. Kyle Skinner, the sophomore from Santa Barbara, will come in to serve. Can Ohio State get a point off of a service substitution? And they can't. They've made, I believe, 5 of them. 4 have resulted in a service error, and the other one resulted in a BYU point. The serve was in, but still a BYU point. So none of the service substitutions have resulted in a point for the Buckeyes. Stanley serving, BYU leading by 3. Magic number is 3. And that one hit off of the tape. No, BYU said it hit off of the tape. Is Sean Olmstead going to challenge this or not? I don't know. They're saying it was a BYU touch. He was looking at Miki Yauhiainen, and Miki could not tell him for sure that he didn't touch it. So Sean Olmstead says, okay, we'll take it. BYU wanted a 4th touch off of the tape, but Miki Yauhiainen could not definitively tell his coach that he did not touch it, so BYU will let it stand. And it's a 2-point deficit, 22-20 for Ohio State. And it's a point for Jake Haynes, who lets his emotions show, pumping his fist. And Ohio State within 1 now, 22-21, 12 kills for Haynes. He had 5 in set 1, that's 7 kills here in set 2, and now BYU is gonna call a timeout, leading by 1. We'll stay here, BYU 22, Ohio State 21. The Cougars trying to go up 2-0. They have led most of this second set. They led by 3, and there was that critical point where the initial call was to BYU. Ohio State challenged, and on review, BYU did touch it, and the point went to Ohio State, and at that point it was 20-18 instead of 21-17. And could that timely challenge and video review loom large here? BYU, instead of leading by 4, led by 2, and now it's a 1-point set, 22-21. BYU hitting 360 in this set. Ohio State 353. For the match, it's 341 to 310. So BYU out hitting Ohio State ever so slightly here in set 2 and leading ever so slightly, 22-21. Ohio State, after 12 service errors in the opening set, has only had 3 errors this entire second set from the service line. BYU matching 6 in the first set with 6 here in the second set. So the service error margin is almost negligible now, 15-12, still 3 more errors than Ohio State. But 12 in that first set, they gave BYU nearly half of their points from the service line. And they've cut down significantly here in set 2. 3 aces for BYU, 1 for Ohio State, all of them coming here in this second set. Gabby Garcia-Fernandez leads BYU with 10 kills. Jake Haynes leads Ohio State with 12. And Sunil Thomas, the setter, will serve for the Buckeyes, who trail by 1 in the waning stages here of set 2. Huge serve here, and it's just out from Thomas. Ooh, that was close. Matter of inches, if not inch, separating BYU from a 2-point lead and Ohio State from a tie. Davide Gardini. Haynes down the line. And I don't think we've seen a call yet. Miley Jukes couldn't see it as the up official, and the line judge, he couldn't see it as well. His view was blocked. Let's see, down the line, that's in. Oh, that's easily in. So they give Ohio State the point. It's just unnerving because there was so much uncertainty, but that ball was clearly in. The line judge couldn't see it, and Miley Jukes couldn't really see it either. That serve goes out, And BYU has set point once again at 24-22. Jake Haynes has 13 kills, 8 of them coming here in set 2. But it's BYU with set point. And the serve in the hands of Finland and Jauhiainen. Miki Jauhiainen sees the ball land at his feet. And Ohio State will serve. It's set point number 2 for BYU. But a Buckeye point can erase that. And we go into extras here in set 2. Can they do it? Blake Leeson, the redshirt senior, a 4-year starter. Gabby hits off the ductwork and it lands on the floor. That one set directly to the court. Gabby Garcia-Fernandez has his 11th kill, and BYU escapes here in set 2, 25-23, to take a 2-0 advantage over Ohio State. Both of these sets have been tight. The second set was even tighter than the first set, and BYU gets the 2-point edge, and they breathe a little bit. 2-0. Both teams will head to the locker room. The final point from Gabby Garcia-Fernandez. Sunil Thomas hit it off the ductwork, and it hits the floor, and Gabby picks up kill number 11. The sophomore leading the way for the Cougars, and Jake Haynes, the redshirt sophomore, leading the way for the Buckeyes as we expected. Number 5 BYU leading number 7 Ohio State 2-0. We'll step aside and take a break. Don't go away. Plenty more to come here from the Smith Fieldhouse in Provo, Utah. BYU taking set 2 from Ohio State, 25-23, to take a 2-0 lead. It was back and forth, just like set 1, which went to the Cougars, 25-20. And it's crazy, these two teams, BYU's hitting .357 for the match, Ohio State hitting .341. Jake Haynes has 14 kills for the Buckeyes. Gabby Garcia-Fernandez has 11 kills for BYU, including the final one to give the Cougars the set. Just so evenly matched. There's a reason why these two teams are both in the top 10 and potentially underranked right now. I would almost say Ohio State at number 7. Certainly underranked, because they've looked better than number 7 here on the road in a hostile environment in the Smith Fieldhouse. There's Jake Haynes leading the way, 14 kills. He had 5 in the first set, 9 kills in that second set, and they just kept feeding him. BYU countering with their sophomore, Gabby Garcia-Fernandez. Gabby had 4 kills in the first set. He had 7 in the second set. And this crowd is rocking. I wondered what the crowd would look like tonight on the same night that BYU is playing at the Marriott Center in men's basketball. And plenty of fans have chosen to come and watch volleyball instead. By the way, BYU leading 36-30 at halftime over the Portland Pilots in the Marriott Center. And in my completely biased opinion, they made the right choice coming here to the Smith Fieldhouse. A top 10 matchup between BYU and Ohio State. Two teams that just a couple of years ago played for national championships 2 years in a row. Ohio State won both of those with sweeps. BYU has played in the NCAA title match 3 times in the last 6 years. Swept all 3 times in 2013 and then 2016 and 17. Those final 2 by Ohio State. BYU does have 3 national titles. They came in a 5-year span, 99, 2001, and 2004. Ohio State has 3 national titles. Theirs have been much more recent, since 2011. 2011, 2016, and 2017. Buckeyes right now ranked in the top 10 for the 44th straight year, going back to 2015. They've been ranked number 1 in 16 of those, about a third of the time. The last time they were unranked, 2014. BYU has finished in the top 10 every single season since 1997. They've been top 5 in 8 of the last 9 years. The one exception, 2015. Yeah, their rebuilding year when they were 8th. These are 2 powerhouse men's volleyball programs. And they are back on the court for the 3rd set. Ohio State once again in the scarlet and gray, BYU in the white and blue. And the Buckeyes will serve first and go left to right as they did in set number 1. And Sunil Thomas will start things off. 25-20, 25-23. Just because BYU's up 2 sets to none, don't think that they've been blowing out Ohio State, because nothing would be further from the truth. And even with BYU leading 2-0, I would say this match has as much of a chance going 5 sets as it does going in a 3-set sweep for BYU. Cougars score first. Gardini will serve. Overpass and a free opportunity here for BYU. Stanley setting Gardini in the back row, and it's blocked. Bump set from Hendrickson, and Gabby goes cross court and he hit it out. That's the 4th hitting error for Gabby Garcia Fernandez. Drops his hitting percentage to .389, which is still phenomenal. 18 swings, 11 kills. Gabby hit .274 last year. Led this team in kills, service aces, digs, and blocking assists. And Cyrus Fa'alogo gives BYU the advantage, 2-1. Kill number 6 for the junior from West Jordan, Utah. BYU replacing a lot of talent from last year. Leo Durkin, Price Jarman, and Brendan Sander. All starters from last year that have moved on. 8 freshmen on this team, just 1 senior. And it's Taylor Richards, the libero, who played just 1 set last year, has played in only 4 sets in his career. 6 juniors, 3 sophomores, and those 8 freshmen. All knotted up at 2. Serve coming from Blake Leeson, and it barely gets over the net. Cyrus, pancake dig from Sunil Thomas. Stanley back sets to Gabby. And he has his first kill of this 3rd set, 12th of the match. BYU has won 7 MPSF titles, including 3 straight and 5 of the last 6. Ohio State has won 27 MIVA titles, 17 tourney titles. Won the regular season and tournament a year ago. BYU picked 2nd in the preseason coaches poll despite winning the conference last year. UCLA picked to win the Federation crown. They were the national champion last year, hosting the NCAA tournament at Pauley Pavilion, and that's who BYU lost to in the semifinals last year. Ball finds the floor, and the Buckeyes find the lead once again, 4-3. Ohio State picked to finish 3rd in the preseason MIVA coaches poll. They had 2 first place votes, Lewis and Loyola. For the top 2 picks, just 5 points separated those top 3 teams. So both these teams, despite winning the conference title last year, not picked as the preseason conference favorites this year. Gabby once again, and he'll tie it up at 4. 13 kills for Gabby Garcia Fernandez, 2 here in set 3. BYU knots things up. 3 kills on 8 swings, hitting .250. Ohio State, 2 kills on 3 swings. It's the first time they were unsuccessful on an attempt here in this set. Difficult receive and a free ball bumped over from Reese Devilbus. And a soft kill from Felipe de Brito Ferreira. Felipe, with his first kill on his 4th swing, had an error earlier in the match, so his hitting percentage will go back to triple zeros. BYU takes the lead 5-4. Cyrus Fa'alogo will serve. Ohio State last year lost in the semifinals as well to top-seeded Long Beach State. 25-6 season last year for the Buckeyes, 22-7 campaign for BYU. Lalaman serving in a 5-all set 3. Stanley setting Gardini, and the freshman second to Gabby on this team, 7 kills in his BYU debut. Freshman and son of a 3-time Olympian. Felipe will go back to serve. BYU has taken the lead 6-5. And Felipe serves it into the net. Ohio State, after 12 service errors in the first set, had just 5 in the second. They have 1 here so far in the third. BYU 6 in the first, 6 in the second, and 2 so far here in the third. Block keeps the point alive. Triple block there again. Gardini, Jauhiainen, and Stanley. And now, oh, they're giving the point to Ohio State. Will Stanley is the one that's going to be called for the infraction. So it's 7-6, advantage goes to Ohio State. And Austin Gerwig will serve. Stanley setting Gardini, who had a huge windup for that swing. Haynes, 14 kills through 2 sets. No kills so far here in the third set. Gardini finds hands, and it's 7-all. Haynes had 5 in set 1, 9 in set 2, and a very quiet set 3 with a big 0. Triple block was there, and it was Thomas, the setter, who last touched it. Quick set, fantastic set from Thomas. Sunil Thomas, again, led the NCAA in assists last year, averaged 11.28 per set. And the quick set to Blake Leeson gives Blake his 3rd kill. And Thomas now will go back to serve. That was a textbook executed set. And Thomas serves it out. He's had a few service errors in this match. And combined, they've probably been 5 inches off the line. He has been close every time. Gardini. Thomas going to Haynes, and he finds the floor. Cross-court kill, that's his 1st kill in this set. 14 through the first 2, including 9 in set 2. And his 1st kill in set 3 comes at point number 9. And the Buckeyes leading by 1. Devilbus, the junior, serving. That one might have been going out. Gardini, perhaps a freshman moment, kept it alive. Can Ohio State capitalize? Yes. Haynes back-to-back kills, and he is fired up. The redshirt sophomore out of Carl Sandburg High School in Orland Park on the south side of Chicago. He's given his team a 2-point edge here in set 3. Backs against the wall, and the Buckeyes are fighting. Stanley back set to Gabby. Dug up. Whistle, and the point going to BYU. Martin Lallemand with the infraction. Les Collis making the call. And it's 10-9. Miki Jauhiainen. Miscommunication on the receive, and through the double block, Lallemand comes right back. Couple players colliding on the reception, and it still results in an Ohio State point, and the Buckeyes by 2, 11-9. Blake Leeson will serve. Won the 2016 title against BYU. Had the final point to get the trophy. Off the touch, BYU back to within 1. Gabby Garcia-Fernandez will go back to serve. And Cyrus Fa'alogo has his 7th kill. Gabby into the net. (12-10), Buckeyes by 2. Jake Haynes will serve. At 6'10", he's the tallest player on the floor from either side. Davide Gardini, the freshman, is 6'9". He's the tallest one that BYU sends out there. Cyrus back to serve. Gabby with 15 kills. Haynes with 16 to lead the Buckeyes. Ohio State continues to lead by 1. Quick back set. Gerwig was dug up. And it's hit out. Gardini, just his 2nd hitting error. Had one late in set 2, if I remember correctly, and this one here in set 3. Both of them trying to go cross court, and he went a little long. 16 swings, 8 kills, and 2 errors, 375. That's a fantastic line in your first ever collegiate match. Lallemand serving. Stanley trying to save it off the net. Felipe wasn't in a great position. BYU keeps it alive. Back set, Haynes on the run, and he is fired up. One of the most animated players that we've seen in this building. Reminds me a little bit of Futi Tavana, BYU All-American middle blocker from a few years ago. And even he didn't have that much energy, I don't think. 14-11, Buckeyes with their largest lead at any point in this match. They lead it by 3. Sean Olmstead calls a timeout for BYU, and we'll take it. The Buckeyes trying to stay alive here in set 3. They lead it 14-11. You're watching NCAA men's volleyball on the W.TV. 7th-ranked Ohio State hitting .692 in this current set. BYU hitting .350, both of them hitting really well, but when you're hitting .350 and it's barely half of what the other team is hitting, that tells you how good Ohio State has been swinging here in this set. BYU gets the point coming out of the timeout. That'll cut the Buckeye deficit to 2, 14-12. Felipe will go back to serve. Thomas setting who else but Haynes through the triple block. BYU's under the net. Had a couple people they could have picked for the violation. They'll go with Will Stanley. So Ohio State will go back up by 3, 15-12. They're just going to keep feeding Jake Haynes. He's hitting .500. Actually now .517 after getting credit for that kill, is 18th. He's taken 29 swings and he's hitting over .500. That's outstanding. And yet somehow his team still trails 2-0 here in this match. Will Stanley will go back to serve for the Cougars. They trail by 2, 15-13 after Gerwig's service error. The 20th service error this match for Ohio State. Jauhiainen blocked Leeson. Ball's kept alive, and that time BYU hits it out. So much like the first set, these teams are going to go back and forth trading points with the margin at 3. First set it was BYU with the 3-point advantage. Here in this set, Ohio State has the 3-point advantage. And a block. Leeson and Haynes. Ohio State's first block since the first set. They had 2 in set 1. Last year in Columbus, BYU outblocked Ohio State 12-3. And tonight, blocks haven't really been a factor. The Buckeyes outblocking BYU 3-2.5. Gardini, Stanley. And a difficult one for Gabby, who just kind of sent a free ball over. And Haynes tried to go left of the triple block. He did, but he went a little long going cross court. It's just the fourth hitting error for Jake Haynes, who's still hitting .484. 31 swings, 19 kills, just 4 errors. That one will pull BYU to within 3, 17-14. Gardini serving. Turner trying to save it on the net, and it just went over. So Ohio State still with a chance here. Miki Jauhiainen blocking Haynes. They'll go back to him, and he's blocked again! Miki and Gabby rejecting Jake Haynes. So right after I say blocks not a factor in this match, a couple of huge blocks, one for each side. 17-15, Buckeye advantage. Gardini with a strong serve. Fantastic dig. Bump set. Cyrus off the triple block. Bump set again. This time the reverse to the right side, and Gabby swings it over. A pancake dig from Thomas. Long rally, and Gardini puts it away from the back row. That is some high-level volleyball being played on both sides. The only shame is that point had to end. BYU on a 3-0 run has pulled to within 1. Haynes, from a standing position in the back row, had as good of a swing as you can have. BYU kept the point alive, and a timeout, Ohio State. 4-0 run, BYU has tied it up at 17. The Cougars trying to storm back here in set number 3. And we'll step aside. Ohio State 17, BYU 17 in set 3. Campaign. Number 5 BYU leading number 7 Ohio State 2-0. And a 4-0 Cougar run has tied set number 3 up at 17. BYU took the first set 25-20, the second set 25-23. And at no point in this match has Ohio State seemed out of it. If BYU comes back here to win set 3 and sweeps the match, it is not at all an indication that BYU was just way, way better than Ohio State. An ace out of the timeout gives BYU the advantage. The Buckeyes have been up to the challenge. And there's a reason why these two teams faced off in back-to-back national title matches just a couple of years ago. Last year, it was BYU upsetting number 1 Ohio State in Columbus. And this year, they meet in early January as top 10 foes. Hitting error. Reese Devilbiss hit it out. And the run extends now to 6-0. BYU trailed by 4. They now lead by 2. Longest run of this match. BYU had a 5-0 run in set 1 that prompted a timeout. This run is 6-0. Stanley was there to dig it up. Bump set from Hendrickson. Cyrus. Haynes for the Buckeyes. And BYU gets the point. And Ohio State's going to call another timeout. And Jake Haynes is fired up again. This time he was fired up at Miley Jukes, the first official. It's a 7-0 BYU run after the violation, and the Cougars leading 20-17 will stay here. Ohio State has used both of its timeouts here in this third set. They were in control at 17-13, and now find themselves trailing by 3, 20-17. A 7-0 BYU run, and now the Cougars are 5 points away from sweeping the match. The Buckeyes, who at one point were hitting almost 700 in this set, are now hitting just 280. BYU has dropped off as well. They were hitting, 350, and they're down to 276. So both teams have cooled off. I mean, Ohio State by like 500 points there. A little over 400, 700 to about 280. Jake Haynes still leading the way, 19 kills. He had 14 through the first 2 matches, so BYU has contained him to just 5 kills here in this match. Gabby Garcia-Fernandez leading the Cougars with 15. His career high, by the way, is 23. But 15 for 3 sets is pretty good. If this were to go 5 sets, chance that Gabby could get a career high there. Jake Haynes is the reigning co-offensive player of the week in the MIVA. He had 37 kills in the first 2 matches, which is an average of what, 18 and a half? And here he is with 19. And that was in 7 total sets through their first 2 matches. Gardini will serve out of the timeout. BYU on a 7-0 run. From down 4 to up 3. And a kill from Haynes ends that run. It's his 20th kill of the match. 36 swings, and he's still hitting over 400. 417 to be exact. 20 kills and just 5 errors in those 36 swings. Buckeyes end the 7-0 run. They now trail by 2. Cyrus punched up into the air by Samarin, the libero. And then Lalaman will go off hands. Back-to-back points for the Buckeyes. They trail by 1. Devilbiss will serve. Backed up Nick Zerzan, the 3-time Conference Player of the Year. And now it's his turn, and he gets an ace. Team leading 6th service ace already in just the 3rd match of 2019. He was a serving specialist, came in to serve 150 times last year. And his ace ties things up at 20. Ohio State has countered BYU's 7-0 run with a 3-0 run of their own. And service error number 21 will put BYU back in front with 21. 12 errors in set 1 for the Buckeyes, 5 in set 2, and that's the 4th one here in set 3. They've handled the service line much better since that opening set. Miki Jauhiainen serving with BYU up by 1. Haynes was dug up. Gabby rejected. Stanley punches it up in the air and keeps it alive. Cyrus from the back row. Back row set from Samarin. And Haynes, but who else? Finds it for kill number 21. He's going to retie that left shoe now. 21 kills for Haynes, and it's 21 all here in set 3. Jack Stevens checks in to serve for the 2nd time today. Ohio State has not scored a single point on a serving substitution yet today, and for the 2nd time, Jack Stevens comes in, and it's a service error. Gabby Garcia-Fernandez, service error. Team's trading him now, and it's 22 all. Who's gonna break? Magic number for both sides is 3. Jake Haynes, the 6'10 redshirt sophomore, will serve. 5 service aces this season. And BYU goes off hands. Felipe de Brito Ferreira with his second kill. BYU back in front, 23-22. Cyrus Faalogo will serve. Thomas setting Devilbus, who's blocked. And a free ball sent over by Reese. Solo block from the setter, Sunil Thomas. Unreal, what a phenomenal block from the 6-foot setter. The freshman Davide Gardini rejected by the senior Sunil Thomas. And it's 23-all. Lallemand on the service line. Overpass. Thomas setting Haynes from the back row. Can BYU save it? No. Zach Hendrickson tried. Good thing that's carpeted. And for the first time tonight, it's set point for the Buckeyes. It's only January 10th. This feels like a match that could be played 4 months from now. What an incredible opener we've had. Injury timeout. Blaine Empey, the BYU athletic trainer, is checking out Zach Hendrickson, the libero, who had that diving attempt there. Looks like his lip's bleeding. He's wiping off the left side of that blip there. Didn't want to come out. And now BYU will call a timeout. So officially calling a timeout. We'll stay here at set point for Ohio State. BYU now has used its final timeout. So both sides are out of timeouts here for this third set. Can't overstate the importance of this serve coming up for the Buckeyes. BYU leads 2-0. So one more set ends it. Ohio State has to win this third set in order to prolong the match, and they are serving on set point. So with Ohio State serving, statistically the advantage would go to BYU to tie it up at 24. But a service ace or a block or a strong dig could give Ohio State the chance to take set number 3. The Buckeyes hitting 344 in this set. BYU hitting 235 for the match. The Buckeyes out hitting the Cougars 342 to 303. But it's BYU with the 2-0 lead. Ohio State hit the ball well last week. Remember, they hit 380 in that 4-set win against Penn State last Saturday. $4,277, the just announced attendance here in the Smith Fieldhouse. And it's been packed almost all the way up to the top. And doing so on a night that they are going head-to-head with men's basketball in the Marriott Center. BYU pulling away, by the way, at 67-45 with 6:32 to go across the street in the Marriott Center. But nearly 5,000 strong here for the season opener. Set point for Ohio State. And it's dug up. The Buckeyes with a chance. And who are they going to go to? Who else but Haynes? And the freshman ties things up at 24. Jake Haynes upset. He wanted a carry. Still upset about it. Davide Gardini, kill number 11, ties things up at 24. and eliminates set point, and we're going to go to extras here in the third set. Almost an overpass. Haynes right into the net. And now it's BYU set point. Haynes was still bothered by what he thought was a lift and should have given Ohio State that third set. He overhit. He tried too hard on that swing, and it's his 6th error. Leading the match with 22 kills, but error number 6 gives BYU match point. And he responds with kill number 23, and we're tied at 25. We are seeing one of the best in the country, Jake Haynes, and he's just a sophomore. He was 2nd team all-conference last year. He'll be an All-American by the time he leaves Ohio State. Off the right arm, Gardini as a freshman with the poise to locate that ball off of Jake Haynes. 26-25, it's the 2nd match point for the Cougars. And Will Stanley will serve. For the match, Davide Gardini, and BYU sweeps Ohio State. It took extra points in the third set, but BYU gets the 27-25 victory and sweeps the top 10 matchup to open the 2019 campaign. Davide Gardini, the freshman, with 13 kills in his debut. He hit .417 for the match. Gabby Garcia-Fernandez led the Cougars with 15. And a fantastic night from Jake Haynes. 23 kills to lead everyone, but his Buckeyes fall in 3 sets. You see the scores, 25-20, 25-23, 27-25. Set 1 was tight, and then it just got tighter from there. 27-25, BYU eventually puts it away. The Cougars hitting .325 for the match. Ohio State also hitting .325. Both teams took 80 swings. BYU had 1 more kill, but also 1 more error, and it's only fitting that these teams end with the exact same hitting percentage in this match. Ohio State had 22 service errors. 12 of them came in the first set. They settled down from there. But what a fantastic match to open up the season. It's hard to believe that this was a season opener. Like I said earlier, this seems like a match that could be played in May, and perhaps these two teams will face off in May. They faced off for the NCAA title in 2016 and 2017. Both of them sweeps for Ohio State. BYU upset number 1 Ohio State in 5 last year in Columbus, and they get the sweep on their home floor in another rematch here today. What a fantastic match it was, never lacking drama. Jake Haynes was phenomenal. Look how fired up he was all night long. 23 kills, led everybody, and Ohio State just kept feeding him and feeding him and feeding him. But it was BYU that got the victory. Gabby Garcia-Fernandez was blocked on that point, but he led the Cougars with 15. And Davide Gardini, the freshman in his debut, 13 kills, including the final 27th point of set 3 that gave BYU the 3-0 sweep. Cougars go to 1-0. They will host Ball State on Saturday, 14th ranked Ball State, and that will be right here on the W.TV at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Ohio State will head further west to Palo Alto, where they will face number 11 Stanford also on Saturday, and the Buckeyes fall to 2-1 on the year. Ohio State ranked 7th, BYU ranked 5th coming into this match, and I see no reason to say why either team should be moved even higher up. It was a sweep for BYU, but this was in no way a match that was dominated by the Cougars. Ohio State very much up to the challenge, and there's a reason why these two teams faced off for the national title 2 years in a row in 2016 and 2017. Outstanding match, 23 kills from Jake Haynes, but BYU overcomes all of that to get the 3-0 win over the Buckeyes. Ball State coming to the Smith Fieldhouse on Saturday. Won't you join us? BYU and Ball State, again, 7 o'clock Mountain Time on Saturday, and you can watch it right here on the W.TV. What a fantastic way to open up the 2019 season. You've been watching NCAA men's volleyball on the W.TV. Number 5 BYU sweeping number 7 Ohio State. I'm Robbie Bolo saying so long from Provo. Thanks for watching.